I think today I want to continue my story. I left you guys with me turning 18, having my first baby, leaving my partner, moving back into my mother. That was a really quick way of telling the entire story so far. And also with me starting to feel very depressed. It became very bad very quickly, and my mom was very worried, so she decided to call the doctor. The doctor came over and he said, I think you have a postpartum depression. I also think that it is a really bad one and I think you need help. I don't think that this will go away on its own. So he referred me to a psychiatric hospital. And they confirmed his diagnosis and they told me, I think we need to have you committed. Is that how you call it? When they want you to stay there 24/7? And I immediately said no, I'm not going to do that. I just had my son, I need to spend time together with him. So I refused and it turned into a bit of an argument in between me and those doctors. Because they really tried pushing me towards this treatment that they had in mind. But in the end, they gave in, even though they did not agree. And they offered me a day treatment from 9 to 5, every single day for 5 days a week. So it is basically a full-time job, doing therapy. And then they told me that they had a waiting list, and the waiting list was 6 months long. I can't remember how I felt when I went home. I just can't recall. The only thing that I remember was getting a call the next day from these doctors telling me, we have a place for you, you can come tomorrow. And this was something that I was not expecting at all. I was preparing for a very long period of waiting. All of a sudden, I found myself in amongst 30 other people, and yeah, I don't even know what I was. I was confused, I was exhausted, I was all kinds of things, I guess, but I was not doing well. Therapy itself was supposed to last a year. In the end, I was there for 15 months. I was there being confronted with all kinds of very difficult things that happened in my childhood. So I decided to do something with it, or at least I tried. What happened along the way though was that I stopped eating. It's hard to explain why I decided to stop eating. I think it was because it numbed my emotions. When I was not eating, I was also not really feeling anything. So I guess it was a way of just me trying to cope in a very, very bad way. Of course, people were starting to notice that I was not eating. I was also losing quite a lot of weight. So they decided to send me to an eating group, which was kind of ridiculous because I was the only one there. It was just me sitting in front of a whole bunch of other people telling them about why I was not eating. It was something that was not helpful for me at all. I had to do weigh-ins every single week. It only resulted in me putting actual weight in my pockets. As in lead that you use when you go fishing. Big clumps of it. And I lied my way through this whole eating group thing. I decided to move out of my mom's place. I rented a room because I just needed a place for myself to come home to at night after those very long, hard days of doing therapy. And I also needed a place to spend some time in together with my son, just him and me in the weekends. I had a very hard time with spending time together with my son because I felt so exhausted and I just felt swallowed alive by this therapy. I had nothing left when I came home. So yeah, there are honestly still a lot of emotions when it comes to this part of the story. I have a lot of issues with talking about it because I think there is still a lot of pain left. I'm not even sad about having this postpartum depression. I'm just so sad. I'm just so sad about missing those 15 months of my son's life. I missed everything. And there's a lot of pain there. There's a lot of sadness. Because it really broke my heart. Maybe this was also one of the reasons why I stopped eating. Because I could not cope with just not being together with my son. Before I became pregnant, I smoked cigarettes, a lot of cigarettes. And when I found out that I was pregnant, I stopped smoking. After a couple of months of therapy though, I started smoking again. A lot of people were smoking there, there was a lot of stress going on, and I decided, just give me the cigarettes. When I started smoking again, somehow it made my eating disorder go away. Or at least that's how it felt to me. Whenever I was feeling stressed or sad or emotional, I just smoked a cigarette. And my whole eating disorder, the whole issue that I had with food just disappeared to the background. I think the cigarettes just replaced my eating disorder. It was just another coping mechanism that I switched to. So I moved on, I guess. I finished the therapy. I went back to my son. It took me a lot of time to settle in after this therapy, to settle back into life. It was very difficult. So in the years that followed, I stopped smoking a number of times. And it became very obvious that my eating disorder was still there. And every single time I stopped smoking, it came back and it got worse. It became really, really bad. I managed to not smoke sometimes for a couple of years even, but it only resulted in me developing a second eating disorder, I guess, because instead of me just not eating, I started switching in between not eating and eating more than I wanted and then throwing up. I tried a number of therapies in those years, just therapies for my eating disorder, and it did not help me out at all. So every single time when I stopped smoking, after a while I just decided I'm just going to start smoking again because I just don't see another way out. That's what I did. Until about 7 months ago. If you have followed along on my YouTube channel for a while now, you probably already guessed. I am struggling with my eating disorder big time right now because I stopped smoking. There is one thing very different this time, and it is the decision that I made that no matter what, I will never, ever start smoking again. I am going to sort out this issue, this problem that I have with food, once and for all. I don't know how long it is going to take me, but I'm going to do it. And that's what I have been struggling with for the last 8 months. It is very difficult, it is very stressful, and sometimes it's not easy to do all of this without just sharing all of these things. It feels like I'm hiding a big part of myself at the moment, and it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel honest, it doesn't feel transparent. The whole reason why I stopped eating all of those years ago was because I did not cry. I never cried. I just numbed all of my feelings. And now I'm not doing that anymore. I'm crying, I'm talking into a camera, I'm expressing at least some of my sadness